What is going on, everyone, and welcome to my review of Force of Nature: The Dry 2. What a terrible title that is. So, The Dry 2, which I'll just call it, is a sequel to the 2020 film The Dry, which was one of those rare Aussie films that comes out and actually makes a pretty big splash. So, I watched The Dry a few months back without any idea that a sequel was coming, and I enjoyed it enough. It's got a lot of problems, but I do think it's pretty decent. And I've been looking forward to The Dry 2. When I heard it was coming out, I was like, oh yeah, I'll make sure to go and see that. And you know what? I actually think it's a bit better than the first film. So just like the first film, this was directed by Robert Connolly, and it stars Eric Bana in the leading role, reprising his role as Aaron Falk. When 5 women take part in a corporate hiking retreat and only 4 come out on the other side, federal agents Aaron Falk and Carmen Cooper head deep into the Victorian mountain ranges to investigate in hopes of finding their whistleblowing informant Alice Russell alive. So one of the main positives of this film, and the main area that it really improves over the first for me, is that the story is far more focused. The first film, we were following basically 2 different storylines, one from the past and one in the present, and the storyline in the past just basically felt like a giant commercial break that just kept on happening every 5 to 10 minutes. There are still flashbacks in this film, but they have a bit more relevance to the main plot here, and they don't interfere with the main story as much because there's far less of them. They do still get in the way at points, but it's far less egregious than it was in the first film, because the first film you're like, oh yeah, I'm really getting into this, I wonder what's going on. Oh, okay. Let's go back to the past. Let's go sit by a campfire for 15 minutes and... Yep. And because the flashbacks are far less frequent, the experience itself feels a lot more focused. You just feel like you're getting what you want. You come to see a film where someone goes missing. It's not so much a whodunit than a did someone do it, and if so, why? It gives you more to chew on and more to think about, and you get what you came for here. It's really, really well done. Although, as I said, it does still suffer from the flashbacks a little bit. It's just far less frequent than the first. I really like the storytelling approach here, as it really kind of used parallel editing to build tension and intrigue as to what was going on. This kept the pace going at a very fluent rate, and it did so in a way that it gives you time as an audience member to gain the trust of characters while also giving you reason to suspect them. So it makes a really interesting kind of mental game where you're kind of trying to pick out what's going on, who may potentially have motives, what is actually happening, and just everything. You really actually start to live and breathe in these characters. Every one of these characters feels like a fully realised character, and it gives them all plenty of potential motive. And I thought on the character front, it was given a really satisfying and well-rounded experience. Like, you really feel like you know everyone and they all come to a satisfying conclusion. As I said earlier, the first film was very much a whodunit. It's basically who killed this person. This film has more onto that. Instead of just being a whodunit, as I said, it's a did someone do it, and if so, why? Or did the person just go missing? And what exactly is going on? Did they run away? Are they hiding from something? It gives you a lot more to chew on, as I said. I find it to be a much more intriguing and effective mystery. I also really love the setting in this film. The drenched rainforest is so, I don't know what it is, but it's just so full of life. You just look at it and you really feel like you're there. You can feel the humidity, you can feel the dampness, which just makes me wonder why they didn't just call this film The Damp instead of The Dry 2. But anyway, like the first film, it succeeds on giving you that kind of classic Australian setting. Like, the first film was very much showing you that sun-baked outback land. This one shows you kind of like the rainforest and the Otways and stuff like that, which I really appreciate. Now, it's not a perfect film by any means. As I've already mentioned, the flashbacks here still do somewhat get in the way, but it is a lot less infuriating than the first. Plus, the third act of this film, while mostly is pretty good, there is some convenience in being able to wrap things up. Some things do just happen very quickly because it's just like, yeah, we're getting to the end of the film. Let's just have all the characters find everything out in a pretty short span of time. Which isn't a huge deal, but it does just feel like it could have had a little bit more, like the third act could have been extended a little bit more, give it a more natural way of the characters coming to the conclusion of what's happened. And also, for a movie that is so grounded for the most part, there is a part towards the end involving a waterfall that is so ridiculous and like just contrived just to give it kind of like, you know, one really big memorable scene that I'm just like, why? It's just kind of like, it becomes a bit of a cartoon just for like a minute and a half. It's this really silly scene that was kind of like foreshadowed at the start, but it doesn't make sense in the context of the film. It's just stupid. Without getting into spoilers, I was watching it and it was a very grounded film. Like, it really feels very real. And then that happens, you're just like, what the fuck? But anyway, I really enjoyed this film a lot. I think it's an improvement on the first. I think that it could still be done better in future installments, which I really hope we get, because this is kind of like, I could watch another 10 of these, really. Aaron Falk is kind of like Australia's Hercule Poirot, and I don't know, I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give The Dry 2 3.5 stars. Thanks heaps for watching this review. If The Dry 2 has come out anywhere overseas, if you're watching it overseas, do check it out, but I don't know if it's been distributed anywhere else other than Australia, but I really enjoyed this film, so make sure to check it out. It's not perfect by any means, but if you enjoyed the first, then I'll be surprised if you don't enjoy the second. Bye.